Zeta Sam, what town were you born in?
I was born 1907.
Wait, get the machine over here now. Wait a second. Okay.
Are you staying at Mama's place?
Yeah, we're speaking to Mom's.
I was born in 1907. My father left the family in 1912 to Canada. He didn't want to go to the army, Nikolaevsky army, because when you went there, you never came back. So before you went to report to the military, so you drink tobacco, a pound tobacco, you put it in hot water and he drank it, he should cough. He was coughing, so they released him for a year. So he had a brother-in-law in Canada, in Winnipeg, so they sent out papers for him and he went to Canada. In Europe, he used to buy cattle.
Yeah.
And
Wait a second. Do you remember his father? Do you remember your grandparents?
not exactly.
You were very young?
Yeah, Shmilev was my mother's father. His father, I don't remember.
What did they do for a living? They also just...
They were in the grain business.
What town, what village was this?
Salnica, Podolska gubernia, near Badichev.
This is in the Ukraine.
In the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And one day my daddy took me to a village and he put in a calf on the wagon to exchange for another one. And I was sitting at the calf and the calf started jumping and he threw me down the wagon and the wheel cut my head, split open. I fell down the wagon and the calf threw me down. So there was a river, my daddy took me down, it was bleeding. So he got me in, they sawed my head without chloroform over here. Anyways.
You still have the mark there?
Yes.
Yeah?
There's another story. And then we were without our father for 12 years.
Tell me about your mother. Which town was she born in?
My mother was, I wouldn't know exactly. She was 87 when she died. And I wouldn't know exactly the date she was born.
What year did she die in?
And she died in the 30th of April, this month, in 1967. My father died in 57.
Living say Alexandres.
Okay, what was your father's full name?
Raful
Letinsky.
Litinyetsky. That's right.
Oh. And
the name we changed to Litinsky.
And your mother's full name? Do you remember?
My mother was Sterngas.
Sterngas? And her Pessy?
Maiden name.
What was her first name? Pessy? Or?
Pessy.
Pessy Sterngas.
That's right.
You don't remember her parents?
No.
You don't remember them. Okay, and so what was your father doing? He was in the cattle business,
Yes.
and your mother, the father left when you were what, 5 years old?
6 years old.
6 years old.
I didn't remember my father.
So what did your mother do for a living?
My mother had a traktier, a place where you sell whiskey, brew, and fish. And my mother suffered for all those years to support 4 children. We never had a decent meal. We always had to wait to supper because all day long she was preparing, and Sunday was the Yared, bazaar, the Yared. They were selling horses and cows and pigs and everything. They were selling this Yared. Anyways, and my mother was careful, and they made in the back, we had lots of stables. You see, my father was fighting with his brother. They were fighting every day. Till the police took him apart. There was his father, Zayden, left a beautiful home, a brick house in Tata Will, and his brother didn't want to give him nothing. So they were fighting.
What was his brother's name?
Beryl.
Beryl?
They didn't talk to each other. Even my father left. And you paid out through court, you buy the buildings with straw roofs. Stables, all kind of stables. So my mother had a guy who used to make whiskey in the stables. So one day they came over, they reported the police are going to search. So she took that bra, that stuff that you put in flour and everything, and pour it in the garden. And the pigs used to walk around, so the pigs drank it and they would run. They used to lay down on the garden and scream, like for singing. That's a true story. The horses walking around and the cows, everything was loose. Anyways, ask me. I don't know.
Okay, I want to know something. Wait, your father and your brother were fighting. And then your father, they split up, and your father left when you were about 6 years old. He went to Canada.
Yes.
Now, your mother, in the meantime, was working. How many brothers and sisters you have, just for the record?
I got
Bill,
one brother and two sisters.
Molly, and
Riva.
Riva. And they were all living together on one roof. Your mother's trying to support 4 kids.
Yeah.
So she was what? She was selling liquor and she's selling fish.
And she used to go on the villages and sell underwear to the Christians in change for wheat and carry home on the shoulder. She tried to make a dollar, a ruble, to live on.
I love this.
We had 2 houses, so the government took away 1 house.
Where'd you have 2 houses from?
You're not allowed to have 2.
How did you own property? Baba just said that her father wasn't allowed to own because they were.
It was for Nikolai. That settlement was for the old Tsar. When they split, so you bought this stables with the house. The house was on the straw.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Baba said that because her father was Jewish.
Different than my different.
No, but her father was Jewish. She wasn't allowed to own property. They had to own it through a goy.
You could have a house. You couldn't have no other property.
Just a
We
house.
had property. I don't know how it was. We had property. We had property down on the goy. We had 3 houses, 1 double and 1 single. So the single they took away. The government they gave it a
He
shoemaker.
lived in Ukraine, I lived in Russia.
I was in the Ukraine, I was in a different place where she was. Anyways, and all the time my father wrote from Canada, he wants to go home.
He wants to come back to Russia.
He doesn't like Canada. He couldn't make no living, he was suffering, he had a horse and a saw machine that cuts wood. He used to take $1 a cord of wood to cut. He used to come up the machine. He couldn't, he didn't have no profession. Then in a few years, when he was in Canada, he got a job in the CNR in Port Rouge. He worked as a laborer. All the time he sold us parcels, but he couldn't send to Russia. During the revolution, he sent to Poland. So my mother wanted to go to Poland to receive that $50. That $50 is like 5,000. She went, how can you go to Poland? So they had a guy between the border between Russia and Poland, a guy who had there was a forest, a big forest, and he used to get paid and take through a few people through there and back. So my mother went to that village. She knew, she found out, and she left us. We got no phone, we got no communication whatsoever.
She's just gone.
She's gone.
How old are you at the time?
Oh, that time I was about 12 years old.
And who is you're the oldest?
No, my sister.
Sister's the oldest, and she was what, 16, 17?
She was about that age, yeah.
So how did you eat? Where did you?
She was baking bread. We had wheat. We went to the mill and we made flour and brought it home. And we had a cow we had to feed. So
How long was she gone for?
she's gone. My mother. We didn't know where she's gone. And when she came to Poland, she took out the money from the bank. The money sent it to her name, and she bought leather, soft leather. She put it on her stomach all around, and she bought golden 5 rubles, and she put it in the hilt for my shoes, and they covered up the shoemaker with another, and she was wearing it. And when they coming back, so the Russian police caught my mother with all and they put her in jail.
They found her with all of the.
Oh yes, they took up from her everything, but they didn't touch the shoes yet. And she had a suitcase, she had other shoes. So she put on the other shoes, she didn't know what to do with the other shoes. They find out, they take it away anyways. So there was a window open in that jail, you know, by the bars. So she seen a woman walking, she was Jewish. She yelled at her. She came up close to that window and she says, I want you to do me a favor. I'll throw out those shoes, take it to the rabbi. She took a chance. And they kept her there. We didn't know. My mother disappeared. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we don't know who she is.
So how much money did she have stuffed in the leather pouch?
She spent the money. She bought material.
Oh, she was carrying the leather. I see.
Because we didn't have it. We couldn't buy it there in Russia. In Poland you could. And so they kept her 3 weeks in that jail and they questioned her. And they took away everything from her with a sheta and dress. They didn't find the shoes because they were the rabbi. And they released her in 3 weeks. And she went up, she found out with that rabbi, the shoes were there. He gave it her shoes. And she came home, I don't remember exactly how long it took her. She came home, and we were very happy to see her. And she continued to try to make a living. And the soldiers used to come and always play the communists on horses. 20, 30 they used to occupy the old stables. They didn't ask you, they just drove in and they put the horses in. And they went to the neighbor, a Poya, a Ukrainian, he had to bring in hay for the horses. You just had to say a word and they bring it. So he used to give me the horses to feed it, to water them. And I was crazy about riding horses. So every time I took a horse and I watered them at the river and I brought them back. The last horse that I brought lay down in the river with me. And I nearly was drowned. You know, you lay down, he wanted to bathe. And I couldn't take out my feet from the saddle. And I got full of mud. I hardly got out, and that horse got out. And I came home, so my mother gave me the business. With a catchet here, so catch it. You take a sheep, you give me the place why I done it. Anyways, it's another story.
So you wanted the horses for who? These are the communists, the soldiers.
This is the cavalry.
These are communists, yeah.
There's nobody else there.
They killed
young guys. Then when the revolution was on, so everybody had a gun. It was loose. They gave me a carabine. I hid it in the barn. On the ground with a sack. I hide it. The boys from the villages went to rob Jews. Used to come at night with horses.
How many Jews are there in your village?
Oh, we were about 18, 20 families we were now. That's how small. We didn't have no train, we didn't have nothing. We only had in the middle, a stone road on top, in the middle, and there was mud. Everything's mud. I had to go. I had boots. I never wore socks. I wore schmattes and oranges. Anyways, a lot else to tell you the life.
I had lots of tape.
Very, very long story, which you have to come back and forward, you know.
Yeah, that's okay.
And what else? Where am I now?
You're okay. The revolution. They gave you a gun to hide in a sack.
So
who gave you the gun? The commissar?
The communists, the guys that the problem with the horses.
So where in the meantime, during the revolution, where were the Tsar's soldiers? Where were the Tsar's soldiers? Are they also in the village?
Our soldiers, they shot out. They dispersed them.
Communism killed.
They dispersed them. The Czar, no more Czar and everything. It was a revolution. Yeah. I carried a flag and I was singing. They were learning us. They learned me. I was 14 years old. They learned me as a soldier with a wooden gun. After school, they put it in a line, and each one had a wooden gun. And they
teach you how to shoot.
Because later, when they called me, so I know how to handle a gun, you know. Then they show you how to operate the gun. Anyways, my mother was out working very hard to make a living. And the time Hopped Club, she used to get hit because they started fighting. They were drunk in the house. So she tried to split it because they'll get killed. So she'll be responsible. So they used to, one got a hold of a Achmesser,
an axe.
cleaver.
Yeah.
And wanted to kill him. So he hit my mother on the shoulder with a cleaver. It's like, it's a lot she went
So you had like a bar. You had like a bar in your house.
Yes, they went.
Wenn du die Gang angeschrieben, das macht doch schneller.
That's okay. I get lots of time.
Then
That'll come. We'll finish.
Then I used to, the bazaar, it was near our house, not far. So a guy brought in a horse, blind of one eye, a white horse, I remember like today, but that horse had a sickness, it has pimples all over their body.
Kretz.
Kreuzergäsen. And he left it near the fence, near our fence. It was winter time, and he left the horse, he got drunk, he left the horse, he couldn't sell it, and he went home to the village, and the horse was standing like this and shaking. I seen the horse is shaking, I see already that nobody takes it, so I run up to my friend, a boy, Alec, and I tell him, he says, let's take the horse to my barn.
Jewish friend?
Yeah.
Alec what?
Alec Tzibushnik, Alec Tzibushnik.
Did he come? Did he ever come to Canada, Alec Sabushnik?
No.
Okay.
And we took into my stable that horse and I covered it with sacks, I had plies, and I stole a little bit hay from my mother for the cow, because my mother didn't know. Mm-hmm. Otherwise I got the business. I got the rights to do it without asking. Mm-hmm. And I covered up that horse and I put in a little bay, I feed it. It was hungry. The next day, he's got a sleigh. His father's a carpenter, so he had a big sleigh. So I went to a Christian, and I know him. He gave me an old harness. So we used to have this horse in the sleigh, and we used to go for a ride. Who could compare us, me and him, sitting with the string, an old harness? No. You have to feed that horse, so the guys used to carry from the field hay, so we used to come and tear in the back, and he side down with the whip, with the cup.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he went away, we gathered the hay for the horse. It got spring, and I got that sickness on my body from the horse.
Oh?
Oh, my mother had to go to a felcher.
What's a felcher?
A doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Unfinished.
Unfinished doctor? What's that?
Unfinished doctor. It's a felcher like
an apprentice?
It's a doctor.
Like those that they make exercise with you. What do you call it?
Chiropractor.
Yeah, a chiropractor. Such a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like a witch doctor.
A felcher. Yeah.
So,
no, he's got education, but he doesn't have
so
diploma.
what did they do?
You have Gulinkis.
He gave me some medication, and it's healing. It got spring, and it can't go to sleigh. I haven't got no wagon. I don't need a horse. What do I do? So I took the horse 2 miles from the city. I walked to them, and I left them on a field. Nobody didn't want it.
You couldn't sell it.
The skin looked like ugly. Nobody knew it. And at night, that horse came back. I came back to the barn, and what did I do again? So I went and I walked 5 miles with that horse, and I left it in a place where I feel it was deep, what do you call it, like a ravine.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some grass, and I left it, and I never saw it again. I don't know what happened. What else? There's a lot of stories.
Okay, tell me how you came to Canada. So your father was writing you the whole time, sending...
My father said he wants to go home. He doesn't like Canada, doesn't like the smell of gas, doesn't like the cars they go into. He was lonesome home. He's lonely, he's got brothers here, he's got relatives here, but he wants to go home. So we wrote him that forget about it. It's bad in there, very bad. Yeah. So it took 13 years. He decided to take us out. But he took it, they took us out. So he started going to Cunard Line. It's the biggest company immigrants every day coming in. Both are, so he picked cheaper Royal Mail. Royal Mail sent us out papers. So I don't know how my mother got rid of the house, and I had a little puppy dog like this year, a beautiful dog. I had to give it away to neighbor. They were crying to give it away.
How old are you at this time?
17, 16 and a half, 16 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't come to my father. They wouldn't let me come to my father. I had to go to Tafama. They make papers Tafama.
Wait, yeah, explain to me how you got to. So you
When
went
is
on.
it? What year?
You went to a ship.
1925.
You had to go from your village to which port?
I went to a city, it's called Khmelnyk. There was the train. We had to take the train to Kiev.
Have you ever been on a train before this?
No.
This is your first time.
Never.
Yeah, it must have been very exciting for you.
When I see the engine from the train, I looked to the fence, a metal fence, so the engine blew the whistles. I fell down, I smashed my knees. Anyways, we went, we said goodbye to Goyim, the Christians were standing in the village, said goodbye, say hello to your father. They knew my father, the old timers.
They knew you were going.
We were going with the horses in a wagon 30 miles to that train by horses. We came to Khmelnyk, we took the train to Kiev. We came to Kiev, they adjusted the papers.
Well, it's a big city, so it must have been very exciting for you.
Yeah. From Kiev, we went to Moscow. We came to Moscow, so my mother had to go and stamp the passports. So we stayed in our basement, I remember, 6 days in Moscow. My mother thought that she's going to be hungry, so she baked bread like this around was, big black bread. So it was hard to carry. So she gave it to an expressman, it's called Lomovoy. He used to have a horse with a big hamut, a horse with a wagon, and he used to carry people to the station.
Like a taxi.
So my mother took me, we went to stamp in Moscow, to stamp the papers, to go further we had to go to Latvia. Latvia.
From Kiev to Latvia?
Yeah. So the streetcar goes there, you have to push in. There's a door open, if you don't get in, you stay out. So there was packed to the streetcar. My mother got in, I couldn't get in. So she left me in the middle of the street, and I said, I don't know where to go.
It's a slowpoke everywhere.
I've never been in a big
All the
city.
brothers and sisters were on the train already?
They were home. They were in the apartment.
Oh, in
Yeah.
Moscow. Hmm.
So my mother saw, she had time that way, she took a streetcar back, and there was a policeman standing. It's not called police, and they say militionnaire. I came up to him, I told him the first time, and my mother got in, and I didn't, he said, stay, do, and Rushish, stay здесь. Stay, my mother came and picked me up. Anyways, she ordered that guy with the big Laura, a horse with a big Laura, he put on bread with the chassels, with the cushions, all kind of stuff she carried. So and we went to the station. So she gave away the bread to that guy because it was I had to carry so much weight, so I threw in the ocean some. I got a licking from my mother. I could carry it. Anyways, we came over to Latvia, to the station in Moscow. They took us by train.
You went from Kiev to Moscow on the
Yes.
way to Latvia? Okay.
From Moscow, we gone to Latvia. We got on the train in Moscow,
Yeah.
and we came over to Moscow, so right away the conductors changed. One goes on with lapellets.
Mm-hmm.
The communists were without lapellets. They check our passports. They took us out. We were there about a day, and then they went to Paris, France. We came to Paris, France.
I'm confused. You went from Kiev, which is in the Ukraine.
Yeah,
You went to Moscow.
yeah.
From Moscow, I thought you were going to Latvia.
We went down to Paris, France.
Not on the boat.
We go by train.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
But look at the funny route. You went from Kiev to
We came
Moscow, Latvia.
we went to Paris. In Paris, they gave us a free ride over the city. Immigrants. We were only a small amount of immigrants in this company that we traveled. From Paris, in a couple of days, we went to Cherbourg, France. Cherbourg.
Cherbourg.
There was, I got pictures yet from Cherbourg, France.
Now, you're with your whole family at this point.
Not to move in, there's thousands of people there.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you're with your brothers and sisters. They came with you to Paris.
Everybody
Yeah.
does, the family.
Yeah.
You came to Cherbourg, France, they haven't got no boat to come to Canada.
By yourself too?
This Royal
Yes,
Mail
sir.
Company didn't make a right
They
arrangement?
haven't got enough people, they haven't got no boat. So they kept us there 6 weeks. So we used to sleep in an apartment, 3 beds up. I had to go sleep on a ladder, you know. And we stayed there, we were eating whatever, and we waited for a boat every day. We went to ask. I used to go out to the city and come at night. So it was close the gate, they used to jump over the fence. Anyways, there was a woman, Jamel. I still remember her name. I got a picture of her. She used to call us Cucurico, rooster. She couldn't speak that, she couldn't speak French there. And she used to hit us with a broom. We should get up. We were sleeping late. It was 6 weeks there, and then my father sent $150 to change clothes. They took away $130 for food, which is not our responsibility. You can't do nothing. You're immigrant, and you dress with the Russian galfa, with steel, with boots, with a Russian
Heavy.
hood, with a cap. I got pictures. I didn't
Yeah?
show you.
I'd like to see those. You have pictures of you wearing all that outfit?
Huh?
I'd like
I'll
to see.
show you. I got a picture. It was left $20. So my mama says, "Give me the $20." So they wouldn't give the $20 either. Why? In the paper it was no train to Winnipeg from Halifax. My father had free tickets. He worked in the share. They gave him free tickets for the family, so they were waiting the tickets there, so they didn't put it in the papers.
But they took $20 for that?
But I wanted to smoke. I smoked. So I picked butts, you know, and I rolled on paper, plain paper, used paper, I smoked. Butts, everybody throw away, I looked with the butts out. Well, the company made arrangements with a New York ship going to New York to take us through Halifax and let us off, not at the port. Another boat came over, a small one, takes us off.
Picks us off the boat.
28 passengers, they were like that. 28, that's all. To Winnipeg, to Canada, I mean. Some Montreal, some to Winnipeg, 4, 5, or 6 to Winnipeg.
Did you know anybody? Did you meet anybody on the boat?
Yeah, I met them, but I never see them anymore. They separated to Winnipeg. One was a milkman, and the other one was a woman sharing home, and one woman died. We got in on the boat, on that American boat, and we were in the bottom and in the ship. There's 3 floors. It all depends what ticket you buy. On the main floor, on the 3rd floor, in the main. We were in the bottom. It was smelling from the wetness, you know. We were eating most fish, and everybody was sick. The whole family was laying, vomiting, you know. The boat was going like this here. And all of a sudden they give us drill, put on in case the boat sinks. We were afraid. Anyways, they were eating most of the fish. And I used to go, I felt good. I used to bring in food. Yeah. We came to Halifax, 9 days. We were on the ocean. It was stormy. And one sailor, one man died, they threw him in the ocean. We stayed and watched. You know, and they put him in there. You don't keep on the boat.
No. They wrap him up.
They wrap him up like a second, they put him in a platform, and the priest made a sprayer, and they showed them to him. We were 9 days on the boat, and we came to Halifax in 9 days, and I've seen a little boat, a small one, came over and took us up. We went through a ramp to that boat, and they took us up to the station. Came to the station, they gave my mother $20.
They give her money back?
Well, it's coming to her.
Yeah.
They gave her a paper that she can collect in Halifax for $20. So she gave me 10 cents, and I bought a package of Ogden's tobacco.
Which kind of tobacco?
Ogden's.
Ogden's?
Yeah. I smoked already. So we took the train to Winnipeg 3 days. We went from Halifax to Montreal, and wherever the train stopped here, so my mother went and gave my shiny taste of water. She was drinking tea, and we were eating. She was buying bread, you know. We come to Winnipeg, April the 16th, 1925.
Was your father waiting for you at the train station?
Oh, yes. He was waiting and didn't have enough place. They took some car was sitting on my father's lap, and I felt so embarrassed, you know.
You don't know the
Didn't
man.
know? I was attached to my mother, like a baby to his mama. And I moved out, and I got mad, I was crying. I attached to my mother for so many years.
For the rest
There's
of
a lot to talk that I lived through. I lived through Winnipeg. The way I went to the country and buy chickens.
What was your first job here in Winnipeg?
First job in Winnipeg was I worked in a factory as a presser by hand. I opened up seams from pens. Then I had 15 jobs. I went to the country, I bought horses, and I went with a man, he didn't have no money. I had to spend the money for the horses. Then I sold the horses. Then I bought pigs and calves and chickens on the farms. And then I worked in a mill where they make horse feed. And then I was a carpenter for 10 years. And I worked for somebody, then I went for myself, a Letler. I worked 4 months in the year, then I started to sleep. And my wife, I got married.
When did you get married? What year?
In 1932.
What date?
The 10th of January.
1932?
1932.
Tell me about courting Baba. That's an interesting story.
What's that?
When did you meet Baba?
Well, I met Baba in a place, she had girlfriends. Yeah, she had about half a dozen girlfriends. And they used to come together with boys. And I met Baba, and Baba was full of life. The other one was Baba's. In the city, she used to dance and talk, and we used to write, we used to flirt. We used to send little papers, she said, I love you, or I like to go out with you.
Yeah.
Give over, she used to answer.
Yeah, Baba, that's right.
He used to write besides the
Anyways, I throw an eye on Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I didn't know what to do. I used to watch her and check it, how she behaves, and now she goes with other boys. I was jealous already.
Did you have lots of boyfriends?
Oh yes, she had lots. And she had a boy from the country. He was about 10 years older than her.
Oh.
He had a store.
Oh.
He wanted to marry her, and her uncle wanted her to marry this guy.
He used to
a
buy
uncle.
uncle caps.
Because he used to buy caps for her, and he was a businessman. Så gick nämligen an arbete, jag arbetade und I'm unemployed. Så but she loved me, I loved her. So I lived on Magnet, she lived on Burr, she used to go up on the balcony, and so I used to see her from Magnet, she said I loved her. Anyways, and we worked around for a year, so Sophie says to me, you know what, let's get married.
I didn't say nothing, I'm sorry.
Who asked you?
I said.
You had a big supper, but then tonight like halotna with a lot of garlic. And he took me out and he put his head on my shoulder and he started to kiss me and says, gee, you smell good. Zeg, I'm sorry, Zeg, it's not perfume. It's garlic. So pretty glad was.
I don't remember the garlic.
It's mixing them garlic.
With one condition, she's going to marry me, I got to ask her uncle.
What was your uncle? Who was your uncle?
Mr. Bella Valosholin. Mama Bella's
Mama Bella's husband.
Yeah.
What was his first name?
Ron.
Ron.
I have to go and ask the uncle. I says, I marry you from a you marry me, you're going to live with the uncle. She wouldn't get engaged to me until I asked. Naturally, my heart was beating.
Did you know the uncle? You met him a few times?
Sure.
I had to. I used to sit with her in the house, we used to kiss and hug, you know. And our uncle used to come, used to go out, used to look through the window. But he used to see her. Look at that, was right here. They watched us.
So some stop kissing us.
So if I behave myself and my good boy, they told her that I'm a gambler, I'm a underset man sucking.
Who told that?
The Yachnis.
No, your boyfriends.
My father's a worker, and he wanted to marry a businessman. I told you. So I told her, do whatever you want. If you want to marry him, he's into aid, you know. I'm not going to.
What language were you speaking? Are you talking Yiddish?
Yiddish, Russian, most of Russian.
Mhm.
She talked a little Yiddish. Anyways, I had to go face uncle. I came up and I asked the uncle, I said, look, Mr. Beloff, I want to marry your niece, Sophie. I know that she has a lot of boys, and you wish, what is the, give me the
Okay, finish up. Okay, finish up. You asked him, no? He'll come in. He's coming in.
Joe.
Oh, good.
Okay, no?
I have to take him home to...
No, you asked Uncle Aaron Beloff, marry your niece. What did he say?
And he gave me permission, and in 1932 we were married. That's a lot.
What date? Always get the date.
32-19.
What
January
date?
the 10th,
Thank you.
1932.
Thank you. I know. I'm just checking.
Very interesting.
You always have to get the dates on an accurate biography.
Okay, the dad's here. To be continued.
Wait, I'm glad you were in Australia.
Yeah. What's the date today, Phil? Today's the
Today's April 22nd,
April 22nd today.
1989.
80.
The house is all written for Ruthie and everything.
Hello.
Hello, you ready? You're on your way home.
Hi,
Well,
Dad.
you're here too.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Oh, you haven't got the vehicle.
No, we're
No.
waiting
I'm
for
gonna
you.
take them off.
Why?
I got the van. I'll have to go home and pick up the car.
I'll have to.